Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is a bag of chips, and you already know you are going to open it later. I think I am right about that. I also know that you should not eat it, but you will eat it anyway. And the real reason has nothing to do with willpower. Your body was not built for a world full of vending machines. It was built for survival, for a life where people worked hard all day just to get two simple meals. It was built for a world where food was rare, scattered, and never guaranteed. For most of human history, eating was not 3 meals and a snack. It was a full-time job, a dangerous job, and the way your ancestors ate is still quietly shaping every craving you have today. So what did they actually eat? Not a mammoth steak every night, not constant feasts. The truth is smaller, stranger, and a lot more uncomfortable. Communities found something surprising. Anthropologist Frank Marlowe spent years studying the Hadza people of Tanzania. Most of their food came from tubers, berries, and honey. Meat was a bonus, not the main course. His research shows us that meat was something they only got to eat once in a while. Honey, especially, was treated like gold. We learn here that they loved honey, and they ate it with real joy. The Hadza people risked bee stings and dangerous climbs just to get honey. Why? Because nothing in the wild gave faster, more reliable energy than concentrated sugar. Your brain still remembers that lesson today. That is why eating something sweet feels like such a relief. It is not weakness. It is ancient programming. But here is where most people get it wrong. Ancient eating was not about feeling full. It was about getting just enough to survive, and often, barely enough. Food was never guaranteed. Some days were full, some days were empty. This unpredictable rhythm permanently shaped human metabolism. Your body learned to store fat efficiently because the next meal was never certain. Kim Hill, a researcher who has studied the ache people of Paraguay for decades, found that even skilled hunters failed far more often than they succeeded. Meat from a hunt was usually shared across the whole group, not kept by one family. Sharing was not generosity. It was survival math. If you failed today, someone else would share with you tomorrow. This completely flips the way we think about dieting today. Your body was not built to eat the same fixed amount every single day. It was built to handle ups and downs, feast and famine. That is why strict, rigid diets often backfire. You are fighting against biology that was made for uncertainty, with a system that was made for control. Now picture an ordinary day in prehistory. No alarm clock, no fridge, just sunlight, hunger, and movement. Mornings often began with the search for food. In many hunter-gatherer societies, women and children gathered most of the daily calories. Roots dug from the ground, greens picked from low bushes. Insects, surprisingly, were a major protein source in many regions. Crunchy, fatty, and a lot easier to catch than a deer. By afternoon, the heat rose, and so did the need for rest. Eating was not packed into 3 fixed meals. It was a steady stream of small bites between hours of walking and searching. Your stomach did not want one big lunch. It was used to waiting for small bites that came in slowly, hour after hour. By late afternoon, if a hunt succeeded, the meat was shared right away. There was no fridge. Meat that was not eaten quickly would spoil or get taken by wild animals. So when food showed up, people ate as much as they could, as fast as they could. That instinct has not disappeared. That is why it feels almost impossible to resist an all-you-can-eat buffet. Somewhere deep in your mind, a very old voice whispers, "Eat now, because tomorrow is never guaranteed." This is where the story takes a turn. You might think ancient people were always hungry, weak, and barely scraping by, that 99.99% of them were painfully thin. But studies of ancient skeletons tell a different story. Many hunter-gatherer communities had longer, stronger bones than the early farming populations that came after them. Why? Variety. A gatherer's diet shifted constantly with the seasons, the land, and the local plants and animals. Dozens of different foods meant dozens of different nutrients. When humans shifted toward farming about 10,000 years ago, food variety shrank dramatically. Wheat, rice, corn, a handful of staple crops, eaten over and over. Bioarchaeologist Clark Spencer Larson documented this shift across many ancient populations. Skeletal evidence shows that after the shift to farming, people grew shorter, dental disease increased, and signs of poor nutrition rose. Farming gave humans more food overall. It just made that food a lot less varied. So farming solved one problem and created another. More calories, but worse nutrition. More reliable food, but less variety. That trade-off still echoes today, every time you choose the same 3 meals instead of reaching for something different. Here is the modern mirror. Your craving for sugar, fat, and salt is not a character flaw. It is an evolutionary inheritance from a world where these things were rare and precious. Fat meant survival through lean seasons. Salt was essential and hard to find inland. Sugar meant fast energy at a time when energy was never guaranteed. In that ancient world, craving these things kept you alive. In your world, where there is a gas station on every corner, that same craving can quietly work against you. When you open that bag of chips, it is not a lack of discipline. You are listening to a voice that has been running for over 100,000 years. It just has not caught up yet to a world where food never runs out. Tonight, when you open that bag of chips,